Oh yes, I wanted to talk about Trump's $1 million dinners. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Business leaders and other big financiers are paying millions of dollars to have one-on-one meetings with the President of the United States, Donald Trump, in his Florida estate. And I mean, some of it is like, sometimes if you want it to be like a group of people, like it's you and a few others, then you'll pay $1 million a piece so you can come as a group. But if you're one guy, then you have to pay something like $5 million to sit down and dine with them. But basically, you're paying money directly to the president into his machine in order to have these one-on-one meetings with the president. Listen to this. Guests are paid millions of dollars to dine and meet with President Trump at special events held at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida. Business leaders can secure one-on-one meetings with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago for $5 million, according to sources with direct knowledge of the meetings. At a so-called candlelight dinner held as recently as this past Saturday, prospective Mar-a-Lago guests were asked to spend $1 million to reserve a seat, according to an invitation obtained by Wired. You are invited to a candlelight dinner featuring special guest President Donald J. Trump, the invitation reads, under a MAGA Inc. header. MAGA Inc., or Make America Great Again Incorporated, is a super PAC that supports Trump's presidential 2024 campaign. Basically, he is gathering this money for his super PAC, building into his machine for meetings with the President of the United States. You want to meet the president as a business leader? You have to contribute to his political machine. You want to maybe get one of the first words on that government contract? Give him a few $1 million here for a meeting into a super PAC. You know, maybe we'll consider your contract a little bit more. Maybe we'll take a second look over there. I'll call my secretary of loyalty, no matter what the position is, and I'll make sure they'll sort it out for you. This is not what should be basing meetings with business leaders. It should be based upon societal good, societal interests. We want investment in this broken down community. We want to make sure we increase labor standards. We want to make sure we increase investment. Hey, we heard we're going to lay off these jobs. Is there any way we can make the environment easier for you to conduct business? Or is there any way that we can make sure that you know that keeping your jobs here would be best for the community? Like, this is the type of stuff you want to be seeing the President of the United States doing with the business community. Mind you, he just won. He's president right now. Donald Trump is president of the United States. Why is he hosting these dinners? I mean, the $1 million money pay for play to meet the president after he's won as a business leader, if you want to get first word on something, that's already bad. But he's won. Why is he raising that money right now post-election? Is he, oh, well, he wants to get a head start on raising for the next election. Now's the moment. You've got 2 years. Think about this from a MAGA perspective, from a moment that you actually believe in the Trump project, right? You believe Make America Great Again. You believe he's going to come in and break up the deep state. You believe he's going to get control of immigration. He's going to bring about all these peace deals. You believe that he's fighting for you. Let's say you believe that. You got 2 years. Well, now 1 year and 10 months, right? Until the midterms come a-knocking. You've got a 3-seat majority. Or is it 2-seat majority? I can't recall. If one of your guys get a cold, then, you know, your majority gets that much smaller. Your margin gets that much narrower. So, if that's the situation you're facing, and you know that historically, that midterms for the incumbent president, the first midterm, they don't do that well when you have such a slim majority. You need to use these 2 years, not only because you want to make sure that you make a good impression so you keep your majority, but also because it might be the only 2 years you get, not only because it's Trump's last term, but the dude's old. The dude's old. He's getting up there. Last campaign, he did 1/3 of the campaign stops he was doing at a similar time in 2015, 2016. And, you know, he's getting up there in age. He got 2-year time period. You need to use every moment. And like, when you don't have the majority later, use that to fundraise. Why now? And for all these one-on-one meetings, which should not be the basis of it, this reeks of pay to play. This reeks of public corruption. This reeks of you need to support my political machine if you want to get the government contract. This reeks of the very thing that we warned about on this channel, that Trump doesn't want to get rid of any swamp, which should have been obvious for a long time now. Trump simply wants to take over the swamp and expand the swamp and build Trump Heights right on the swamp and in the swamp. He wants to dominate the swamp. He wants the swamp to accept him like they didn't before. And so that means that he just wants to take over the corruption machine. Hell, maybe do it more openly and blatantly because he's got a looser tongue. And I guess on some extent, maybe I'll appreciate the transparency of the corruption on that level because it'll be easier for me to report on. But on the other hand, the more it gets normalized, the more that's happening, especially the stuff you don't see that doesn't get reported. We're 2 months in and we're hearing about pay-for-play dinners with the president of the United States. What is happening that he's being quiet about that he has enough sense to know he should be quiet about? Remember, he was going in there to bust up corruption, going there to bust up the deep state. Again, he wanted to be the corruption. And when you talk about the deep state and when you talk about this gigantic machine, even when you talk about these agencies and J.D. Vance and the other people around him, it was never even like, oh, we're just going to get rid of them altogether. Some of them they did, but others it was, no, we just need our own guys in there. It wasn't, let's depoliticize these institutions because the problem is the politicization of the FBI. What Trump did is he just wanted to politicize more aggressively in his own direction, which is why he got somebody like Kash Patel, who openly says he wants to go after Trump's enemies. And what, is it going to be Kash Patel? Or is it going to be Pam Bondi that's going to look into the conflict of interest of what Trump's doing with this right now? Is Pam Bondi going to do that? Or is it going to be Matt Gaetz? Remember, it was supposed to be meritocratic picks, and we got the drunkard Fox News host, the diddler, and the vaccine denier in chief. Tulsi Gabbard never held an intelligence position in her life. She's the top intelligence official in the country. Meritocracy, guys, meritocracy. We're going to experience a period of public graft that I think is going to be record-setting in American history. There are no more adults in the room. That was the pitch. And whether Americans ignored it or they accepted it, it's different for different people. That's now the ball they have to deal with. They pitched it. They catched it. Congratulations. You now have your pay-for-play president. Swamptocracy is here. MAGA swamp. But I mean, like, come on. We saw it all coming from a mile away. You think Jared Kushner is getting those $2.5 billion deals from the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund that Prince Salman personally interfered with to override the board when they said it was a bad idea due to his lack of experience? You think that came out of nowhere? But don't worry, I'm sure they're going to, they're concerned about Hunter Biden's, like, paintings. That was from a place of real concern. They're going to take on the graft. Just not their own. They're just going to do like many autocracies around the world do. Go after the corruption of their political opponents and let their own survive. Take over their versions of corruption. They're basically, if anything, I think the Bob Menendezes of the world, I think probably feel a little bit safer now, right? Think about Eric Adams. This is somebody who was blatant corruption case. Blatant, very obviously corrupt with Turkish Airlines. He was getting rewarded to overlook safety issues with Turkish buildings so Erdogan could have a photo op in New York. Trump then tells his DOJ to pull the plug, calls it politicized, shows no proof for it. Hell, you don't even need to be Team Blue. If you're on Team Blue, you can still get out of your corruption shit. All you have to do is just switch teams. The Eric Adams stuff really, like, blackpilled me because I don't want Democrat corruption. I want Eric Adams to go to jail. I want Bob Menendez to go to jail. I want everybody who is accepting gifts from foreign governments to choose them over their own constituents and to violate the trust of that to go to jail. Republican, Democrat, I don't care. But now it feels like, and this is the thing that scares me, let's say that there's any Democrat, right, on the Democratic side that gets caught in a corruption scandal. Let's say, I don't know, a senator from it's like Maine. It doesn't matter, right? A senator from whoever gets caught in a corruption scandal. And instead of being offered, hey, here's your cuffs, they get offered, hey, how about you just help us with this legislation? and you help us advance this, and we won't pursue this investigation, which seems to be what many reports indicate is what's happening with Eric Adams and the pursuance of immigration policy with the Trump administration. Like, we could see that repeat itself in the House and Senate if they find anything. And you know that they're trying to dig deep in their political opponents to see if they can find anything. Because if Trump was willing to try to strong arm foreign leaders for dirt on his political opponents, what do you think his own goons are going to do? One's picked out of loyalty, and they know they're only there because Trump picked them to be there, wanted them to be there. Black pill, bro. It's time for some anti-pill energy. Pill antimatter.